Good evening. Well, I'm getting ready to plant some seeds here. I had just enough time yesterday evening after work to come home and get 3 more mounds completed. I was hoping to get a 4th and maybe a 5th, but what we ran into is it looks like the tiller just kind of brought all the rocks forward towards this end of the plot. And as you can see there, I just got a lot of rocks on this end, and to me it just was not worth it. So I think next year when we try this, or maybe later this year if we try to do another one, what we'll end up doing is probably trying to get a rake to pull behind the tractor to bring some of those rocks forward, and maybe till a little extra beyond the fence and whatnot. But anyway, enough about that. We're good to go and ready to start planting. I'm going to start talking about the garden seeder that I'm going to use. And what we got here is the Precision Garden Seeder model 1001-B. Picked this up off of Amazon for a little over $100. I think it was $106 on Amazon Prime. It's got you see inside here, it's got different discs inside to fit different seeds of different plants. And what it does is, as it rolls along, it pulls that disc, picking up the seeds and dropping them into the hopper here. So it's supposed to pick up one at a time and drop it down. As it's making a furrow with this angled blade, the seed will drop down into the furrow, and this chain drags along behind and covers the seed back up with the dirt. So we're going to give this a shot and see how it works. One thing I want to mention first, since I'm kind of giving a mini review of this, is as you're using this, we have the option here for this row blade to attach and hang off to the side. And what that will do is, if you're planting and in a flat plot, then this will allow you to create your next row, go from side to side as you change directions. Well, when I attached this a while ago, when I assembled the seeder, what I found is this plastic holder here isn't getting the job done. So as soon as I had it together, any slight bump or anything caused this thing to come loose. And since I've already got my mounds built, I know where my rows are going to be, I don't need this. Ended up taking it off because I have a feeling it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. So just want to throw that out there, that this design here could be a little bit better. It's just real cheap, flimsy plastic. So anyways, let's get started. I failed to mention a while ago, before I started seeding, that the angled blade at the bottom of the seeder is adjustable so that you can dig furrows of different depths for different plants. So for the okra, we did about a 1/2 inch, so the blade was set here. Fixing to do the corn next, so now I've got it set at 1.5 inches of depth. Well, I've got it finished. It took about 20, maybe 25 minutes to do all 8 rows. That's changing the depth on the furrow blade. That is also swapping out seeds and swapping out the discs that are for the different plants, the different size seeds. There is no disc marked sunflower. There's discs for different size peas, beans, okras, radishes, lettuces, corn, you name it. If it's pretty common, there's a disc for it. None for sunflower, so I used one that was marked for peas. That seemed to work pretty well, dropping them every few inches, about 2 seeds in every hole, which is pretty good, so I can make sure you get germination on you know, a high percentage of them. One thing, if you notice from the video when I was doing the corn, is that when I had the blade set down at 1.5 inches, I was getting a lot of resistance, which is really not that great of a deal. It felt like this was bending as I was trying to push it forward, and so I was hesitant to put a whole lot of pressure on it for fear that I was going to break it, but managed to pull through. I did have to clear some of the grass clumps out of the way, because those, I mean, it just wouldn't go through those. It would get to the point where I just couldn't push it without fear of bending the handles. Other than that, it seemed to work pretty good. The chain did an okay job at a 1/2 inch depth when I was doing the okra. I had to come back and cover it with a little bit of soil, but it wasn't too bad. I didn't have any seeds exposed. When I did the corn and the sunflowers, at 1.5 inches for the corn and then 1 inch for the sunflowers, I did have a few seeds exposed. It didn't quite fill back in the furrow that it dug with the chain, so I had to come back with the rake and make a real quick pass and just kind of lightly drape the soil back over it. But that wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't take just a couple of minutes to do all the rows. So while that's not ideal, I'm not going to hold it against it. It would have probably taken a couple of hours at least to do this by hand. This little device right here allowed me to do it in about a 1/2 hour, all said and done, and that was the practice runs and everything. So pretty satisfied with it. I think it's a good investment, and if you do a lot of row planting in your gardens, you may want to pick one up.